Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar today. We're excited to have you here. We hope that you get some great value in this. Today, we're going to walk through the Xcitium Unified Zero Trust platform to show you kind of the things that it can do, the benefit it can provide you, and everything. To do this, we've got Dennis Jones, who's our VP of Sales Engineering. He will walk through everything. If you have questions or comments throughout, use that little question thing up at the top. We'll field as many as we can at the end. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dennis.
Thanks so much, Todd. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to our webinar today. I'm Dennis Jones, VP of Sales Engineering here at Xcitium. Today, I'm going to go through a few different items. So for our agenda, the first thing I'm going to go is through a few PowerPoint slides. I'm not going to kill you by death by PowerPoint by any means. I'm going to kind of hit some of the main items that I'm going to reiterate during my demonstration. The second portion, I will show a live ransomware and show you how our zero dwell virtualization can render an unknown type of ransomware absolutely useless onto your endpoint. And then my third portion is going into our management portal, show you some of the configurations, the different types of ITSM device management capabilities that we also have, and then touch a little bit on our zero trust CNAPP solution as well. So let me get started. All right. So the first thing I'm going to go over is just going through a few PowerPoint slides. Now, the first thing I want to really bring up to the forefront is showing you how our zero trust within our endpoint protection does work. We do not just cover the endpoints. We cover all the way to the cloud with our CNAPP type of solution, which is really comprehensive, all the way to the cloud workload protection, compliance, as well as being able to cover your Office 365 instances. Our comprehensive security not only just covers the cloud and endpoint, but we also have the ability to cover your email. All right, so if you have any type of need for email protection, we provide that type of capability. Also, we have our web protection, which is a complete DNS filtering system as well. The next thing is being able to have that peace of mind. We're not just that one trick pony, so to speak. We cover your whole spectrum of security products for all of your needs, not just be around endpoint, but we cover email, web, as well as cloud. The other thing is the cost efficiency. That's what we're trying to do with our unified platform. So usually there's a lot of companies that have multiple subscriptions through multiple vendors. So being able to completely consolidate it and be able to get a little bit of a cost savings, because IT security is always going to be an overhead for each company. We're not going to really make money for the company. So when we consolidate and be able to use everything within one console, it makes many parties happy, not only just senior leadership, but your IT staff, so they don't have to log into multiple security consoles. And the next thing is the revolutionary technology that we do have. Our zero dwell virtualization is patented only by us. We've had the same technology for 15 years, and still we're at the forefront of the security thresholds. Huge benefits that absolutely adhere to our security solutions is that they're completely natively architected to work together. We have our whole threat intelligence feeds that all of our products feed into themselves. We have the complete visibility into every single event happening on those endpoints through our EDR type of solution. So you're able to gather a whole bunch of context as well as helping anything for investigation purposes. And the ability to control all these all within one platform makes it real easy for your IT staff and administrators to adhere to, uh, whether it is fixing any type of issues on the endpoint or just helping a user along knowing how to work an application. Our proactive protection, our zero dwell virtualization, this is where I'm going to be providing you a real world example of how we're going to be able to protect your endpoints, even if a live ransomware is on them. And with this unified platform, it makes it real easy for anybody to correlate. So next thing, so right now I'm going to actually go right into our particular testing endpoint itself. Right now, I'm actually showcasing our remote control capabilities because we do have a lot of ITSM types of tools, such as the remote control through our desktop app. So right here, this is going to be your Windows endpoint. There's going to be two agents that are installed onto this endpoint. Now, the first agent is our communications agent. This is going to provide all of the remote management capabilities, and it also provides all the systems information to and from our cloud-based platform. The second agent is our security agent. Now, we do take that layered approach here at Xcitium. We do have our next gen AV, we have our host intrusion prevention service, our zero dwell virtualization, or also known as our auto containment. And we also have our script analysis and firewall capabilities as well. Now, within our security, I'd like to bring up a few different things. The first thing is we are completely policy based. So what you're able to do from a security standpoint is declare, the different policies, the strengths around of the hardening that you're looking to have onto those particular endpoints. But also within these security policies, you're determining the end user's experience overall. And that's really important because you want to make it easy for your end users to see whether anything has been blocked or anything has been quarantined, and also seeing anything within our zero dwell virtualization area. And with that experience, brings me right to this little segue. As you can see, this is something called our desktop widget. I love showing this because it gives a real good idea of if anything is running within our zero dwell auto containment. Now, let me explain our zero dwell auto containment on how it actually, the mechanism behind it overall, right? So what it is a complete API integration into the kernel of the operating system itself, right? So we're able to replicate two different things or three different things overall. Now, this technology provides this area for these unknowns to run on an endpoint. So, allowing these unknowns to execute in this designated area, this kind of effectively prevents them from causing any damage if they are new and undetected types of malware. And this provides zero dwell time for these potential threats. So while this is happening, this we still allow your users to continue working without any disruption whatsoever while protecting their system from these potential breaches until a verdict is reached. So this particular example is pretty common scenario within pretty much every industry out there. I know I don't have to convince you that your biggest weakness is your end users, right? So this is a great scenario there because there's going to be those same 3 to 5 users within your organization that fails any type of phishing type of training scenarios, and this is exactly leading right towards that. Now, just the holidays have just passed. Valentine's Day. There's going to be some birthdays coming up, so it's very common for people to order stuff up on their cell phones nowadays through Facebook Marketplace, through TikTok Shop. So all it takes is that one user to be unsuspecting and forget about any of their security training to get completely compromised. Now, being a security professional, obviously we would know not to go into their personal email, check on any DHL Express unless you're expecting one, in order to click and possibly click on a ransomware and have it run rampant within your environment. Now, just being that suspected user, I'm just going to double click on it, be like, oh, I can't wait for this confirmation to come in. I got to track this package that's coming in for as a gift, right? So I'm going to save this locally, going to put it right into my downloads. But even being able to look at the difference right here and how this is looking obfuscated to an end user. Now, right within the email, you're able to see the attachment with the extension pdf.exe. Being a security guy, you would know not to click on this or save it whatsoever. But being those end users, they may not even be looking at that. Now, look when you go click on the name within the file name, that extension is gone. That is usual because within the Windows operating system, hiding those extensions is on by default. So an unsuspecting user would be able just to click on save it within those downloads and go right into it. So I'm just going to be that typical user that goes in. Oh, let me double click this delivery PDF. All I have to do is double click on it and look right within our auto containment within our desktop widget. You're able to see applications running in this particular window. Now, with our solution, thank God we have it. If not, we'd be in deep trouble. Notice how you're going to see some pop-ups come in. So this is where I'm really going to double down on our zero trust, because we already know what to do with the good files. We allow them to run natively onto the operating system, right? We already know what to do with the bad files. They're already part of the AV database. It's those unknowns. So at that point, we don't trust them. That's where the zero trust framework comes in. We say, all right, we don't know you. You haven't been verified whether you're good or bad. What we are doing is running you within this contained area, which is isolated on this operating system itself. It's not a sandbox technology where it requires a third party to spin up a whole VM to send that particular executable that is not been verified. This is being done onto the endpoint itself. Now, there's two things that happen during this when items are running within auto containment, right? What we have is our cloud verdicting system. So this is our full threat intelligence feed called Valkyrie. So anytime there's an item that runs within auto containment, that particular executable is sent up to our cloud verdicting system, where it goes through a static and dynamic analysis to get a verdict within 45 seconds with that particular algorithm. Now, let's just say we're unable to provide a verdict within that 45-second span. What happens? Well, at that point, it does go to our sales engine or our engineering group, where they reverse engineer that particular unknown that they've never seen before, make sure they get a verdict on that, and with a 4-hour SLA, we're able to provide a verdict on whether it's good or bad. Now, when it is bad, obviously that particular hash is added to the AV database and then blocked from that point on. Now, if it comes back as good, the next time it is run onto the endpoint and runs natively onto the operating system. But what makes our solution really, really awesome is just because something is running in auto containment, and notice how there's that green border around, that's another one of those user settings that you're able to declare within the security profile itself. I like this because it gives an end user confidence that is running within our zero dwell virtualization area. Now, just because this is calling Notepad, I'm sure Notepad between everybody here, that's a safe application. Why is this running within auto containment? Well, there was a call from an unknown that we've never seen before to utilize this application. So we say, okay, we'll allow you to root, but you're going to be in this virtualized area and protected until we're able to get a verdict on that file. But what makes this pretty intuitive, notice how I'm able to go right into Notepad. Notice there's no green border around this particular version of this application. I can go about my day, do whatever I want. Even if this is a Word app, I would be able to work natively onto the operating system without anything happening. Now, obviously, there's two mechanisms that occur when an item is marked either malicious or good. So if it's marked as malicious, right at that point, there's an automated mechanism in the background to reset the auto container and delete everything in there. Now, if it comes back as being marked as good, it is added to that whitelist of good applications to run, and the next time it runs, it will run natively. All right, so I'm going to go right into the management portal at this point. So right over here, I'm going to go right into our cloud-based management portal. This is all hosted up on AWS. This is where all of the systems information or the correlated events will report back to. Now, I'm going to kind of build this from the ground up altogether of how you build up your policies, device management, the patching capabilities. So where I'm going to go is right into our security profile area. Within this area, this is where you could create as many security profiles as you want. Maybe you want to create specific security profiles around departments, maybe for sales or HR, senior leadership. All depends on what you're looking to achieve, whether you needed a hardened type of profile for specific reasons or not. So I'm going to go right into my particular example, and just show you some of the capabilities we're able to absolutely control, not only from an IT perspective and security perspective, but also from an end user perspective. The first thing is the remote control features and options. We have the ability to come in here and control how that the IT admin is able to go onto that machine, whether they wait for a user to permit to go onto it, maybe wait and deny any access, or allow them to just go right onto that endpoint without any types of permissions being addressed. Also, you can see the device takeover. You have multiple different things that you're able to completely control for your security teams logging into that machine. We have our anti-tamper proofing. This is extremely important because even if you have local computer admins, hey, you don't want them to control whether they can uninstall that particular program, or you don't want them to uninstall our communications agent or security agent. So what we're able to do is put a custom password in there to prevent any types of overrides from a local computer admin. We have some really great ITSM tools and device management capabilities, and that's utilizing some our remote tools. In here, we have the capability to do a remote file explorer overall. So you don't have to do a complete remote control or a remote desktop onto a particular endpoint. You're able to utilize these tools. Maybe you need to go onto Remote Process Explorer. Um, maybe maybe your local print server, this printer spooler went down. What you're able to do is just do Remote Process Explorer, restart that service, and at that point you'll be good. We can even see remote event logs for your Windows devices, and you can all do this, like I mentioned, that end user experience and IT admin experience right here. You can make those particular adjustments. We have monitors. So this is a great addition. So if you ever want to see something, so I'm going to go right into our monitors page. We have a plethora of different options that we're able to have for you as a monitor overall. So a great example is being able to monitor your hard drive space. So let me just go into this particular example, disk usage. So what this is setting is a condition for free hard drive space left. And if it hits the condition of less than 10%, what we're able to do is to run a particular procedure. So within these procedures, you can automatically deploy out. I want you to reset my recycling bin or delete out my temporary folders in order to gain space. So obviously there could be more controls after that remediation is done, but this is a great automatic mechanism that can be put in place. Third thing that we're able to do that is really great around our ITSM is patch management, because there could be many tools that you utilize, and this is how we're able to easily correlate all of this into one area for your IT staff. And this is one of 3 ways that you're able to address patch management. And this is on a security profile level, where we're able to create maintenance windows for those patches to be installed. Now, this window, you could set it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You could have it on any day of the week if you want to, or the week of the month. Maybe you want it the last Friday of every month, or the third Tuesday of every month to correlate with Patch Tuesday. Set different settings in here. So even if that device is offline, when it turns back on after that maintenance window, we can install those particular patches that it requires right away. So that is one way. Next thing I'm going to cover is our AV. So this is where we have all the settings, typical AV, but this is a next gen. This is where we have all the controls around the settings that we can adjust any quick and full scans, add any exclusions if that's what is required. Same with our firewall. So with the next 3 security modules, what we do during any type of testing phase, or even when it goes into production, what we try to employ is something called a training mode. So what this is doing is kind of learning the natural applications and the obvious behavior behind those particular users that are using that endpoint. And this helps with whitelisting, right? Because nobody wants to sit there and whitelist everything. This is where or it's doing it automatically in the background for you. So in here, you have the ability to add different application rules, custom rules, global rules, declaring ports or port sets to be either blocked or allowed. But notice here, there's a banner up here. Even if you utilize this particular security module for a Windows operating server, uh, this is where by default and by design, we disable the firewall on Windows operating systems. The reason being, let's just say if it was an application server and it was using 700 non-standard ports, imagine how hard it would be to figure that out, and you'd be here all day. This is where we're able to protect you. Windows Firewall still stays enabled as well, so you'll be fine at that point. We have our HIPS module, right? So this is where we have the capability of doing multiple different views, and what we're doing with this is providing a complete behavioral analysis as well as a runtime analysis of any types of processes and services that are running onto the endpoint itself. We can even block unknown requests when applications aren't running. So if an update comes from Adobe, we're not running it. Well, we're going to block that until it runs the next time, and then the update can happen for that particular endpoint. Next thing I want to cover is our containment. This is where we're able to set multiple different settings. We can even turn off that highlighted frame for contained programs if need be. We could set our baseline. We could add different rules for different types of applications. Maybe you have an internal ERP or CRM system that's built in-house. We can add those rules for it never to run in auto containment. All depends on what you're looking to do and what you're looking to achieve. External device control. This is where we're able to add this type of capability, block all USB sticks, but we can add exclusions to these very easily. We have the ability to control and see all device class and class IDs of each one of these storage devices. And if you need to put an exclusion or exception here, you can easily do that. Next thing I like to point out is our script analysis. I feel like this is our unsung hero here at Xcitium. This is where we're absolutely adhering to all of the fileless, modern type sophisticated attacks nowadays, all going fileless. So this is where we're able to do a complete runtime detection of all of these scripting languages and embedded code detection for any type of memory scraping that it is trying to achieve. So this is where we're going to have your back for any type of fileless types of attacks. Obviously, we have the ability to set our access controls and UI settings. So this is what that end user experience is going to be. So you have the ability to adjust any of these settings that you want. Also, what's pretty nice, we have a chat capability, because if there's any MSPs out there, maybe they're not able to get on the phone with a particular person. This is where we're able to utilize a cloud-based chat system. If you don't have this, if you're not on the same IM platform, makes it real easy to communicate. And we also have the ability to set different types of performance alerts if that's what you're looking to do. Next thing I'm just going to jump is to our device management area. So this is where I'm going to kind of show you all of the different types of RMM capabilities that you're able to do with our console. On the left-hand pane, this is where you have the ability to maybe declare all the different departments and kind of completely segregate them if you want to by those endpoints. For example, this is my testing group of machines within this management portal. What I'm able to do is completely assign a particular security profile to these machines to adhere to. You could see a lot of different information right from this management console. You can see the name, whether it's online, the particular security and communications agents that are installed, the active components declared via the security policy, as well as seeing the Windows patching. So this is the second way that you're able to adhere your Windows patching, and that is on an individual endpoint level, where I could click right on this number and be able to install that particular patch that is required. Kind of want to check box this particular endpoint itself, because notice up at the top all of these icons enabled, As you can see, you can use our Xcitium remote control options. I used my app before, but we're able to utilize promoting through the remote web control, which is really, really nice. It gives a direct point-to-point connection through that method. We have the ability to do file transfers back and forth. Over here is the capability to go into that endpoint's local file process, command line interface, as well as an event log as well. We can run procedures. Now, within scripts.xcitium.com. So this is our main repository to all of the scripts that are available right at your fingertips. Our team has created all these scripts, and what you're able to do, if this is something that you're looking to achieve, you could download it in the JSON or Python format, be able to download it and run this particular procedure onto those endpoints. We can also install different types of MSI packages. So if you're looking to deploy some other applications or packages, you can utilize our console, as well as different types of power options. You can reboot, shut down, or wake. Our wake works in the ability that you need to enable the wake on LAN capability in the BIOS of it in order for this functionality to work. And then over on the left, we have the ability to do an open chat with that person on that device, as well as this is not required by us. This was for compliance for some of our customers that absolutely required any type of isolations. Our auto containment already covers you. This was just a checkbox for them. So what happens is if we need to isolate it, we can run a full AV scan on that endpoint. Once that's completed, you can release it from isolation. So the isolation cuts utilizes the firewall capability where it only talks back to our management console only. So it's able to isolate it from the network itself. All right. The third way that we're able to cover patching is on a global scale. All right. So right within this patch management area, I'm going to be able to provide you all of the patches that are required for your endpoints. You can see the machines that were installed on, some were that were not installed. So you have the ability from this view to approve all of these and then install them, maybe create a Windows patch procedure and assign that patch procedure to a security profile overall. We also have third-party patching. So we cover over 530 different third-party applications for patching as well. Another really great way to cover some patching is covering any device that is susceptible to CVEs out there. You could see the target devices as well as being able to see the CVE and exact summary on that CVE itself. All right, so I'm going to go right into our zero trust and EDR area. So kind of want to cover a few things within this area. Now, I know I mentioned earlier about the zero contained threats and our within our virtualized area. So let's just say there was an application developed internally that you guys all use, right? So let's say we marked it as malicious because it's making calls out to specific internet addresses, maybe over in Europe, and it's not normal. Maybe we've marked it as being malicious. What would happen, right? So notice this was that delivery confirmation PDF.exe. That was that ransomware. But let's just say, for instance, this particular file was that internal ERP or system that it was developed internally. Notice how it was marked as malicious. We have the capability in here, as you being the admin of this console, to change the rating of this particular file as being trusted or whitelisting it. So it does a global override. So any of your enrolled devices that runs this particular executable, again, it will run natively onto the operating system. But obviously, this is like having keys to the kingdom. You actually want to be careful because if I clicked on this, I would allow a possible ransomware in there. But this is where you do your checks and balances. Another thing I want to cover is our EDR. So this is where we get that visibility and alerting that absolutely is required nowadays for all organizations, big or small. Obviously, this is all run via policy to get these particular alerts. Now, we do have a managed service that you could utilize to help control all of these particular policies and create them with you. Very, very intuitive types of alerting that we have, all coming around, not even just alerting, but we have the ability to terminate and alert on most of these particular actions, processes, and events. Obviously, we have the ability to see different types of tactics and techniques that are associated with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. We have the ability to get very, very in depth with the exact and or clauses that you're creating for these particular alerts as well. Now, within this area, we could also go into the device view. So once you go into a device view, you're easily able to see the amount of alerts that each device does have. So obviously, this is a demo environment. If this was your environment, I'd have a few questions, but this is where you're able to get a little bit more of an idea of, hey, why is this person or this machine getting so many alerts? Let me have a conversation with them. But being able to go into the computer, you'll be able to get a lot more intel on it. So for example, this is my testing machine. I can see all of the different alerts that have been triggered, events trends, network connections. So it gives me a lot of information on this. Now, I'm going to go right into the alert search itself and hit on really, really good information. Obviously, this is really robust type of query engine to go through all of these alerts. I'm going to go right into our EDR area. I'm able to adjust any of these scores, go and just look for specific machines if I need to, specific users, hashes if I need to, as well as selecting any type of MITRE ATT&CK framework tactic that I deem associated with an alert that I want to see that has been triggered. Hopefully you don't have to worry about much. So let me apply this. So I'm going to go right into this particular alert because this was that blue sky ransomware that actually ran onto my testing machine. Over on the left-hand pane, you can see the component, device name, the event time, as well as the event type. You can see that MITRE ATT&CK framework. So this is also helpful for education purposes. I know I don't know everything, so this is where you're able to correlate how this particular alert and event that happened could be used in a bad manner by an adversary. So it's really, really helpful. We have all of the actions, the event group, the event time, the file hash and path of this particular event, which is really, really important. Now, one of my favorite things to show are these two items within this area. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is the hash search. So in here, it's going to show me all the important items about this particular hash itself. I'm going to be able to turn on and see the process creation, the alerts, and notice how you're able to go in here and see how it even got it within your environment. You could even see what are they call this, the detonation zone, blast radius. See other machines that did run this on their machine. I could even check the cloud verdicting details that did come back from our Valkyrie threat intelligence system. This is going to be very contextual. It's going to provide us the analysis summary that it did go up to our human analyst team. We provide a full kill chain report. Now, this report is fully downloadable, so if you have to provide this to any senior leadership to give them an idea of what they prevented with our solution, you can easily provide them that. So obviously, our Blue Sky ransomware was a malware. You can see all the different families of malware it was associated with it. Our behavior summary. This is going to show you all the files, registry reads, and files it was modifying as well. The second view I want to show you is the process timeline. So this process timeline, we have two different views. Obviously, we're going to show the regular timeline view first. You can see that the user logged into the machine, right? We're going to be able to see the desktop, all the start menu items have started up. I went through Explorer EXE to double click on that PDF .exe. And when I did that, it deployed out a few different executables at that time. We could go right into this particular timeline and you could see the legend associated with the particular items. And notice how it comes spread out. So a lot of things happened in a short time. You can click on these and it'll bring you right to that event itself. But the tree view, this thing's great. Makes it real easy and contextual to visualize what is happening. Now, we do have some of these that have plus boxes right next to that. In here, we have the ability to, go to the end because I want to really see what was happening. So this Blue Sky exe, you could see that there was two suspicious processes that were occurring when that executable did deploy. You can see one of them was to deploy that Notepad exe, and it showed, right, that decrypt file text box to go to that, download that torrent site or that torrent, and then go to that website and give your credit card information, provide that recovery ID key in order to get that decryption key. So you would have to pony up. Obviously, it was, if I did not have our endpoint protection, it would have deleted everything up on my desktop. So all these PDFs that I did have on there would have been deleted and fully encrypted. So that would be pretty much forcing my hand to pay that ransomware to get those file and decryption keys back. But you can even see a few other things. There was an auto run added to the registry. This is exactly what a ransomware does. Every time a operating system boots up, it wants to run that particular executable and even encrypt more files if it can. Network connection. Exactly what a ransomware will do. Try to connect to a command and control server. So this is where our firewall comes in and blocks that particular access overall. All right, so I know this is really contextual, a lot of information on here. I'm just going to even go down to the event search, give you a little bit of an idea of what we're able to provide from an EDR standpoint, even if it's not an alert that has been created for that particular query that you're looking for. So this provides all of the information right back into our EDR area. I love showing this one. This is really contextual because I'm going to go into my machine name and show you some of the CMDs that I was running. So just the other day, I was running this particular one. Notice you can see, yeah, I'm running the CMD command. It's safe, but what I'm able to do is be able to provide you visibility into the script that was running itself. Obviously, it's very simple. I just did an easy hello world, and I'm able to get visibility into that script. So this is where we're going to be able to help you uh, for any type of investigation purposes. If you do have to go through that type of item. Hopefully you don't, but this will help you along the way for any evidence that you need to collect. So this was more or less our endpoint security. I just want to touch onto our cloud security and our CNAP and zero trust because not only do we do the endpoint, but we go zero trust into the cloud as well. So we have a complete cloud workload and protection that we're able to do on any type of Linux-based machine. This is all through your data lakes, your S3, Kubernetes, GitHub. So this is where we're going to be able to help you with that, create policies, harden them up to prevent any type of external type of changes that possibly can occur with vulnerabilities and misconfigs. We also have our cloud compliance where we're able to give visibility into frameworks that your cloud environments that absolutely need to adhere to, right? So we have multiple 33 for our cloud compliance areas for your cloud networks, workloads, infrastructure to adhere to. We also have issues in our findings. So this is where we're able to provide CVEs, misconfigs, open ports, etc. So there's a lot of things that we're able to help you, and this is going completely into a cloud environment. Now, I'm not going to go any deeper because we have a webinar coming up in 2 weeks where we'll have one of my great SEs, Matthew Salento, giving an in-depth demonstration of our cloud capabilities and protection. So I want to just hit over onto my PowerPoint again. So I kind of want to just reiterate some of the things I definitely hit on during the past 40 minutes or so is our zero dwell technology, virtualization. It's that single pane of glass where you can have multiple tools within one area. I almost call it like the Swiss Army knife of tools. Yeah, you have multiple different capabilities all within one area, all within one console, and it makes it real easy for everybody to work from. Obviously, our endpoint protection, multiple layers, which is required nowadays, which is our AV, our HIPS firewall, and we have a complete SIEM integration. Our threat intelligence, we have all these different types of abilities to uh, adjust and also get the intelligence that's required to make a verdict on a file, whether it's good or bad. Our analysis and visibility, that's where our EDR comes right into fruition. And then all of our uh, RMM tools and device control capabilities from our management console. So I want to thank everybody for spending some time with me, going over our cloud solution and our endpoint protection as well. So I'm going to pass this over to Todd. So thank you, everybody, and appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dennis. That was awesome. I hope everybody found value in there. We got a couple of questions that came in that I will read and let Dennis answer. Some of them I think were probably answered throughout the presentation, but we'll get to them anyway just to make sure.
Mhm.
First one is this product focused primarily on endpoint, or is Cloud Zero Trust also part of it?
Yeah, I kind of hit on the Cloud Zero Trust as well towards the end. I know a lot of it was hit towards the endpoint protection, but we cover both altogether. Absolutely.
Awesome. Next one, do you have support for non-Windows endpoints like Linux, Unix, or Mac?
Absolutely. We do have Linux, Mac capabilities. So within our platform, we do support GUI and non-GUI versions. And absolutely, we have all the major versions of Linux, Red Hat, Ubuntu, all the major ones. Absolutely.
Great. Next one, basically with those new features like USB disk and HDD control, override local admin password for installing an application, etc., it can replace an Active Directory with policies that I can define in a security profile.
I
Yes?
wouldn't say taking over Active Directory. That's very, very powerful, right? So what we are able to do is help you in some of those fashions. So with local admin power, like being a power user, since it's coming from a security endpoint security, we have the ability to deploy that silently in the background, right? So we could do some functionality, but obviously Active Directory is extremely powerful, especially when it comes down to group policies. We won't be able to take over those group policies, but you could utilize that and our endpoint security to have a great unified tool altogether.
So is that saying that some of the stuff that you might do with group policy not so well, you can do through the platform, like the more security specific functions?
Most likely, yes,
Okay,
most
cool.
likely.
All right, here's the next one. Any monitoring or protection for IoT devices, cameras?
If some of them have, if it's like a Windows operating system, or if it has, we do support iOS and Android type of operating systems as well. Linux, as I mentioned. So if it has any one of those operating systems, we'll be able to install and help and protect those particular machines.
Awesome. Do you have to whitelist all apps individually on all PCs, which is very labor intensive, or do you have built-in definitions for the 500 plus apps you monitor?
Right. So we do have whitelisting. So that's for the third party patching, right? So we've already vetted them out. We've already there's approved via certificate, right? So that's why how we whitelist it. Obviously, you may have to after I mentioned during the security profile itself. That you may want to put stuff into a baseline or training mode, so you don't have to worry about doing that a lot of the time. But you may have to, just like any security tool, there's going to be slight massaging that needs to occur. And if anybody tells you different, they're 100% wrong. So you may every once in a while may need to approve an application. Maybe we haven't seen it before, or has a newer update. Maybe the certificate is not approved. So they may have downloaded it from a wrong, untrusted source. So this is where all those checks and balances can come in.
All right, so here's a follow-up to that same question from the same person. For example, in an org with very standardized PCs, can I baseline one and apply the setting to all?
Absolutely. That's what a lot of our professional services do. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, next one. Do you have any ETA on premise deployment?
We do have an on-prem version that obviously you'd have to keep up with maintenance, patching. We do encourage our cloud-based version overall, just because less maintenance, less things you have to worry about as an IT staff, because every IT staff is completely spread thin, and it's not like we don't have a lot of work to do. But we do have an on-prem version, absolutely.
Awesome. And this next one, I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer it, but we'll try.
Mhm.
Is there any plan of deploying Xcitium from the Asia region as Europe and US are not having good access from Asia?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I'm sure we could. That's just for GDPR reasons. That's why we have our EU version as well, and we have US over AWS East Coast. Um, we could if we. It all depends if we get a lot more traction over there, right? Because every type of it costs money. So if we have a lot of interest, obviously we could open something, whether Australia, APAC area. It all depends.
Awesome. Next one, just question, dark mode.
Okay, we can go into dark mode. We could hide any of the particular system tray icons that you wish. We can make it as stealthy as possible. Absolutely, we could do that.
Right. So awesome. So the same person says, as a current user, dark mode for all of the portals would be great on the eyes. All right. That is the last of the questions. Any others from anybody? If you want to enter them, we'll, last call. Looks like no. Oh, one popped in. Great. Any plans for W10 after October 2024 for Windows 10, I
I
would assume.
don't, to be honest, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll have to ask our dev team. Absolutely.
Yeah, Boris, we'll get back to you individually on that one. And
Yeah.
if you don't hear from us, force us to answer you.
I'm sure we will. I don't see that being an issue, but I'm pretty sure we will be covering that.
Awesome. And then we'll just close on this one. This is from Charles. Not a question, great product. So thank
Awesome.
you, Charles. That's great. All right. Thank you, everybody. I've got another one. I am from Asia. We are using Xcitium for BPO. Sometimes it's hard to contact sales. Um, Again, we are working to expand, worldwide. Um, there may be some hiccups as we do that expansion, but the intent is to give everybody everywhere, you know, all of the support, all the contact information, all the, everything they need to be successful.
Mhm.
All right, let me see if there's any more. Oh, yeah, there is more. Okay. Question, support for ARM64 PCs like the Surface Pro 11.
Right. So right now, that is in beta. It was just done by our dev team. That has been a big ask of our customers and prospects. So the ARM, we're hoping to have a beta release to the public by the end of March, because this has been in fruition for a little while. But yes, it's on its way. It will absolutely be available to the public by mid Q2, if not the end of Q2. But we're trying to get a build out for testing with certain prospects that are willing to test with a complete alpha version. All right. But yeah, that's in the works. I'm excited for it.
Awesome. And then someone asked if they can have access to the presentation to view again. Absolutely. We will follow up with, a thank you for attending thing. They'll give you a link to the recording. Also, the recording will be on our website, very, very soon. Next one, any plans for allowing procedures to run native PowerShell?
Not that I know of yet. That's been an ask, and that's a feature request that we've put in with our development team. So we could follow up on that. I don't know if that's in the roadmap or not.
All right, and then the rest are all kind of thanks, great presentation, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your attending. Those were some great questions. I hope we gave you adequate answers. Keep in mind that we will be back in touch, but you can always reach out to us at xcitium.com. And thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks when we do the same for Cloud Native Application Protection Platform. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.